Let's start with something most men don't like to admit. By the time you hit 40, about 1 in every 2 men experiences some form of erectile dysfunction. Yep, that means if you're sitting in a room with your buddies, chances are half the group knows exactly what I'm talking about, even if nobody's brave enough to raise their hand. And by the time you reach your 60s, the odds aren't exactly in your favor. It's like male potency and your hairline. Both seem to vanish around the same time, and both make men oddly quiet at social gatherings. Here's the real issue. Very few men talk openly about it. Instead, they struggle in silence. They blame themselves, they search for quick fixes, and sometimes they buy miracle pills from shady websites that promise you'll feel like a 20-year-old stallion by tomorrow morning. Spoiler alert, those pills usually just drain your wallet faster than your energy levels. But here's the question I want you to ask yourself. What if there's a natural, science-backed way to not only support stronger potency, but also restore the deep sleep and energy you thought had packed its bags years ago? Imagine feeling sharper in the morning, sleeping like a baby at night, and not worrying every time intimacy comes up. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dig into exactly how that's possible. First, let's clear the air. This is not about miracle cures. This is not about those late-night TV ads that show a smiling couple in matching bathtubs watching the sunset. Seriously, who does that? This is about something much deeper. Understanding how your body actually works. Think of it this way. Instead of just watering the plant when it looks wilted, we're going to take care of the soil. Because when the soil is rich and healthy, the plant doesn't just survive, it thrives. Your body works the same way. Now here's where things get interesting. Men in their 60s often face what I like to call the triple challenge. First, testosterone naturally declines. It's biology, not a personal failure. This affects libido, energy, and recovery. Second, deep restorative sleep becomes harder. Even if you spend 8 hours in bed, you may not actually be getting the kind of sleep your body needs to repair itself. Third, circulation slows down. And circulation is the foundation of potency. If blood flow is sluggish, the rest of the system doesn't stand a chance. The result? A vicious cycle. Poor sleep messes with hormones. Weak hormones affect potency. Reduced potency damages confidence. And low confidence increases stress, which then, you guessed it, messes up your sleep even more. It's like a hamster wheel you never wanted to get on. But now it's 2 a.m. and you're wide awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering where all your energy went. Here's the encouraging part. This cycle can be interrupted. Modern research shows that certain nutrients, taken at the right time of night, can work with your body's natural rhythm. They don't just help you fall asleep faster, they also improve sleep quality, restore hormone balance, and support circulation. And today, we're going to focus on the foundation of it all, sleep and testosterone. Because if you don't get this right, everything else is like building a house on sand. Most people think of testosterone as just the hormone that fuels masculinity and sexual performance. Sure, that's part of the picture. But here's what most men don't realize. Testosterone is also your body's overnight repair crew. Think of it like construction workers fixing a road. They need quiet hours at night to do their job. No traffic, no distractions. The same goes for your body. Deep sleep is when testosterone does its best repair work. Here's what the research shows. A landmark study from the University of Chicago found that even 1 week of restricted sleep, just 5 hours per night, reduced young men's testosterone levels by nearly 15%. Now, let's put that in perspective. That's like aging 10 to 15 years in just 7 days, simply because of poor sleep. Imagine looking in the mirror after a week of bad nights and thinking, why do I feel like I've skipped a decade? And remember, this was in young men. Now imagine what happens when you're already in your 60s and testosterone is naturally declining. It's like kicking a man when he's already down. Another important detail is that testosterone isn't released in one steady stream. It's released in pulses during the night. The largest surge actually happens in the first few hours of deep sleep. That means if you struggle with insomnia, wake up constantly to use the bathroom, or toss and turn with restless legs, you're cutting off the very period when testosterone has its best chance to recharge. Let me put it in simple terms. Sleep is like plugging your phone into the charger at night. But if the outlet is faulty and the current keeps cutting off, your phone never reaches 100%. It's always half empty. That's exactly what happens when your deep sleep is interrupted. So the next morning, no matter how many cups of coffee you drink, your body is still running on a half-charged testosterone battery. And here's the kicker. Poor sleep doesn't just reduce testosterone, it also increases cortisol, the stress hormone. And cortisol is like the grumpy neighbor who calls the cops every time you try to throw a party. In this case, the party is testosterone production, and cortisol shuts it down. So poor sleep hits you twice. It lowers testosterone. It raises cortisol, which blocks testosterone. No wonder you wake up feeling drained, irritable, and about as energetic as a deflated balloon. So what's the solution? The first step is realizing that improving sleep is not optional if you want to maintain potency after 60. It's not just about how much blood flows down there. It's about whether your body's repair crew even shows up for work at night. And here's the key takeaway. When you introduce certain nutrients at night, you're not just helping yourself fall asleep faster. You're protecting your hormonal rhythm. You're giving testosterone the quiet night shift it needs to restore itself. Let's talk about melatonin. Most people think of it as nothing more than a little white pill you pop before bed when your brain refuses to shut up. But melatonin isn't just a sleep switch. It's more like the foreman of your body's night shift. The guy with the clipboard who makes sure all the repair crews show up on time, do their jobs, and don't slack off on the job. Without him, the whole construction site goes into chaos. Now, what's interesting is that melatonin doesn't just tell your brain, "Hey, let's get some shut-eye." It actually has fingers in several pies. It regulates not only your sleep cycle, but also your hormones, your blood circulation, and even your prostate health. This little molecule is like that quiet colleague at work who you don't notice until one day you realize they've been holding the entire office together. Here's where it gets fascinating for men. Melatonin helps your body release nitric oxide. Now, if you've never heard of nitric oxide, let me put it simply. It's the chemical that tells your blood vessels to relax, open up, and let blood flow freely. Think of nitric oxide as a green traffic light for your circulation. Without it, your arteries stay stiff and jammed like rush hour traffic in New York. With it, blood flows smooth, easy, and powerful. And when it comes to erections, blood flow is everything. You can have all the testosterone in the world, but if the plumbing is clogged, the show isn't happening. So melatonin indirectly becomes part of the erection puzzle by encouraging nitric oxide. You could say it's not the lead actor, but it's the stage manager who makes sure the lights, music, and props are all in place for the performance. But melatonin doesn't stop there. Research shows it may also help with prostate health. Now, let's be honest. Most men don't think about their prostate until it starts acting up, usually in the form of midnight bathroom marathons. But melatonin is like an undercover security guard for your prostate, quietly reducing inflammation and keeping things in check. That means melatonin isn't just about sleeping well. It's about sleeping well and waking up with fewer interruptions. If you've ever had to get out of bed 3 times in the middle of the night just to pee, you know how much that can mess with your sleep quality. So in a very real way, melatonin keeps the cycle running smoothly on multiple fronts. Next up is vitamin D. People call it a vitamin, but really it's more of a hormone in disguise. And here's the kicker. After age 60, about 50% of men are deficient in vitamin D. Why? Because we're not outside nearly as much as we should be, and when we are, we're usually slathered in sunscreen or hiding in the shade. Vitamin D does way more than keep bones strong. It's involved in regulating testosterone, mood, circulation, and even immune function. Think of vitamin D as the fuel that keeps your body's solar panels running. But as men age, those solar panels get dusty, inefficient, and not nearly as good at converting sunlight into vitamin D. In other words, older men are basically walking around with solar panels from the 1980s. They just don't work as well anymore. One of the big ways vitamin D connects to men's health is through testosterone. Studies show that men with higher vitamin D levels tend to have better testosterone production. That means more energy, better mood, stronger muscles, and yes, improved sexual health. Low vitamin D, on the other hand, is linked to fatigue, low libido, and depression. Imagine trying to run a sports car on watered-down fuel. It sputters, stalls, and never reaches full speed. That's what happens when your body is running low on vitamin D. Vitamin D also ties back to circulation. Poor blood flow is often the first warning sign of bigger issues like heart disease. Erections are basically a biological report card on your vascular system. If things aren't working in the bedroom, chances are your arteries elsewhere aren't in great shape either. Vitamin D supports healthy blood vessel function, which means smoother flow, less stiffness, and fewer cardiovascular surprises down the road. So, between melatonin helping release nitric oxide and vitamin D keeping the pipes healthy, you start to see a picture forming. Your nighttime chemistry is crucial for both sleep and sexual health. Let's pause here for a second because vitamin D deficiency is actually kind of hilarious if you think about it. For thousands of years, men worked outside, farming, hunting, building, whatever. They were practically bathing in sunlight every day. Fast forward to now, and a huge percentage of men can't even get enough sunlight to keep their hormones balanced. Why? Because most of us are sitting inside, hunched over glowing screens, like pasty cave dwellers who only emerge to pick up a pizza delivery. So yes, modern life has its perks, but it's also made us vitamin D deficient in ways our ancestors would find absurd. Imagine explaining to a Viking that you're tired and moody because you don't get enough sunlight. He'd probably laugh, hand you a shield, and push you outside. Now, the big question: how do melatonin and vitamin D work together? Here's the fun twist. Melatonin is produced in the dark, while vitamin D is produced in the sun. They're like two sides of the same coin. One prepares your body for deep repair at night, and the other powers your body during the day. If one is missing, the whole cycle is thrown off balance. Think of it as a tag team match. Melatonin taps in when the lights go out, and vitamin D taps in when the sun comes up. Together, they regulate hormones, protect your circulation, and keep your energy consistent. Miss one of them, and the team falls apart. Melatonin. Instead of reaching for pills right away, start by creating a sleep-friendly environment. Dim your lights at night, turn off screens an hour before bed, and let your body's natural melatonin production kick in. Supplements can help, but they should be used carefully, not as a nightly crutch. Vitamin D. Aim for 15-20 minutes of sun exposure on your skin daily. If you live somewhere cloudy or you're inside most of the time, a supplement may be necessary, but always check with your doctor before going high dose. Balance. Remember, melatonin thrives in darkness. Vitamin D thrives in sunlight. Respect both ends of the cycle. Staying up all night under bright lights and then hiding from the sun during the day is basically asking your body to malfunction. All right, we've talked about sleep, melatonin, and vitamin D. Now it's time to introduce the unsung hero of men's health: magnesium. If melatonin is the night shift foreman and vitamin D is the solar panel technician, then magnesium is the mechanic who actually keeps the engines running. Without him, the whole system breaks down. Most people don't realize just how important magnesium is. It's not just some mineral. It's involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in the body. Everything from making energy to calming your nervous system to keeping your muscles relaxed. In fact, if your body were a car, magnesium would be the oil that keeps all the parts moving smoothly. Without enough of it, everything starts grinding, squeaking, and eventually breaking down. For men, magnesium plays a direct role in testosterone production, blood circulation, and stress regulation. That's basically the holy trinity of men's health. Low magnesium, low energy, low mood, poor sleep, and weaker circulation. Think of it this way. Testosterone is the fuel, nitric oxide is the spark, and circulation is the engine. Magnesium is the guy making sure there's enough fuel, the spark plugs fire, and the engine doesn't overheat. Without him, you're not driving anywhere. Magnesium is often called the relaxation mineral because it calms your muscles and nervous system. Ever had a twitching eyelid or a cramp in your leg? That's usually magnesium deficiency waving a little flag saying, "Hey buddy, remember me?" But here's the kicker. Magnesium doesn't just relax your muscles, it relaxes your blood vessels. And when blood vessels relax, circulation improves. And when circulation improves, erections improve. You see the pattern here? So, yes, that humble mineral in spinach and almonds might just be the secret ingredient in your nightly repair cycle. Now let's tie it back to sleep. Magnesium helps regulate GABA, a neurotransmitter that calms the brain and tells it to slow down. Without enough magnesium, your brain is like a toddler after 3 cups of soda, wired, restless, and refusing to go to bed. But with enough magnesium, your brain actually listens when it's bedtime. Your nervous system quiets down, your muscles relax, and you drift into deeper, more restorative sleep. That deeper sleep is where testosterone is produced, tissues are repaired, and your nightly reset takes place. In other words, magnesium is like the bouncer at a nightclub. It shows up, crosses its arms, and tells stress and tension to take a hike so you can enjoy the party called deep sleep. Let's zoom in on circulation again. Erections are basically the body's check engine light for your cardiovascular system. If they're not working properly, it's often the first sign that something is wrong with your blood vessels. Doctors know this. Men who develop erectile dysfunction often go on to have heart problems later if they don't address circulation issues. That's because both conditions share the same root problem: poor blood flow. Magnesium helps by keeping blood vessels elastic and reducing arterial stiffness. Imagine a garden hose. If it's stiff and clogged, water can barely trickle through. If it's flexible and clean, water gushes freely. Magnesium helps keep your arteries like that flexible hose, not the clogged one sitting in your garage since 1995. But magnesium has another trick up its sleeve. It helps regulate cortisol, the stress hormone. High cortisol is like kryptonite for testosterone. The more stressed you are, the less testosterone your body can produce. Here's the funny part. Your body doesn't care if you're stressed because of a saber-toothed tiger or because your boss sent a rude email. Stress is stress, and your body responds the same way. Cortisol shoots up, testosterone crashes, and your body puts survival ahead of reproduction. Magnesium acts like a buffer, calming your nervous system and preventing cortisol from staying sky high. That means less stress, more relaxation, and better hormonal balance. Here's the problem. Modern diets are shockingly low in magnesium. Why? Because we've stripped it out of our food. Processed grains, refined sugar, and junk food have basically robbed us of this mineral. Think about it. Our ancestors got magnesium from wild plants, nuts, seeds, and mineral-rich water. Today, most people are running on coffee, white bread, and takeout. No wonder half the population is walking around magnesium deficient. It's like expecting your car to run without oil and then being surprised when it breaks down on the highway. The nightly ritual. So now we've got the full team. Melatonin, the night shift foreman. Vitamin D, the solar-powered hormone regulator. Magnesium, the mechanic and relaxation mineral. Together, they form your nightly repair crew. When you give your body these tools, your sleep improves, your testosterone stays steady, your circulation is healthier, and yes, your performance improves too. Imagine your body as a workshop. During the day, machines are running, tools are clanking, and workers are hustling. At night, the machines need oiling, broken parts need fixing, and the workshop needs cleaning. Without melatonin, vitamin D, and magnesium, that repair crew doesn't show up, and the workshop just gets dirtier and less functional every day. Food sources: leafy greens, nuts, seeds, beans, and dark chocolate are rich in magnesium. Yes, I just gave you permission to eat chocolate for your health. Supplements. Not all magnesium supplements are equal. Magnesium citrate and magnesium glycinate are absorbed better than the cheap stuff you'll find in bargain bins. Timing. Taking magnesium in the evening can enhance relaxation and support deeper sleep. Just don't overdo it, or you'll be running to the bathroom instead of running dream marathons.